Alright, what's going on, guys? Thought I would run through a deck that I've been playing the last few weeks that I've been having a lot of fun with, and it's actually been doing quite well against the current meta. And the current meta, I mean Ryzeal, Mitsurugi, Malice, Ignister, anything with Fiendsmith, essentially, White Forest, Crystron. Like, I'm not saying this deck's better than those decks, but with the right hand, it definitely stands its own. And I play against quite good players, and I intend to play this deck in the WCQ next month. So yeah, I'm just trying to kind of get the deck out there, and I don't know, I feel like I hit a point where I kind of need some help from people smarter than me, maybe just with some ratios. Maybe my math is kind of off, but I'll explain it as I go through. The deck has 60 cards. My deck is 59 just because I lost one of the Anubis judges. So I just have another one coming in the mail, but it should be 60. I'll just kind of explain it as I go through it. So we'll start with the Blue Eyes engine. The Blue Eyes engine kind of bridges into the Odeon engine, but the Odeon engine doesn't bridge into the Blue Eyes engine, unfortunately. It does through Spirit, but you need another card in hand, which is just not what you want to rely on. So Sage is hands down the best starter in the deck. There is a combo after the profile showing the power of Sage as your normal summon. Uninterrupted, this guy represents like 4 negates, so he is just ridiculous and none once per turn. Maiden is our next starter. I've thought about cutting her at one point, but with this deck you just need as many starters as possible. I believe I'm running 22 or 23, which gives me just over that 90% threshold of opening one of these guys in a 60 card build. So I'm running all of them, including the Neo Kaiser Seahorse. I'm not running Jet, which you can play in the mirror matches. Like, Jet definitely makes a difference, but I'm already running like 11 bricks in the deck, and Jet is one of the ones I can play without, so you can run Jet if you want. Double Blue Eyes White Dragon. I swear to freaking heck, I always open this guy. Like, no matter what, I'm gonna open this guy. I could run 100 cards and I'm gonna open this guy, I swear. So, one Roar. I've thought about playing 2 of this sometimes, but the Dragon Lock can be a bit annoying. Mausoleum, and then Triple Wishes. I would cut this down to 2, but we need literally all the starters we can. If there was another Blue Eye starter, I would run it, but there currently is not. So, 1 Majesty and 1 True Light. True Light's really important in this because it's a continuous trap, which your Apophis traps care about. So a lot of people are like, what are you using to negate with? And you're just like, True Light is a continuous trap. And Majesty is even more broken in this deck because with Temple of the Kings, being able to activate a trap the turn you set it, on your opponent's turn you set your Majesty and then you can use it immediately after you set it. So that's quite nice. You can use True Light to revive on your turn. So going into the Odeon engine, I have 2 Anubis the Last Judge. I do have another one coming, but you should run 3. If you're running a 40 card version of this deck, I'd probably just cut this and run the Man with the Mark, because Droll already eats this combo alive, and I mean, you're already playing into Droll, like admitting you lose to it by putting in the deck, so running 3 of it anyways, in my mind, like whatever. Any other engine that draws cards, like I've thought about running the Chaos Illusion engine as well, just to draw more cards, but anyways, Triple Man with the Mark. In a 40 card version of this, I'd probably just run 1 Judge, 1 Mark, and then 1 of like the treasures, and just keep it really low. But I'll kind of talk about that in a second here. So I run 1 Scorpion. I tend to search this guy more than Man at the Mark. Like, this guy being a level 6 actually comes up a lot. And going second, he's a lot better. So triple treasures and 1 temple. So for our traps, we run 1 Apophis the serpent with 2 of the swamp deity. I've seen this ratio on a few deck profiles now, and like it feels good. Sometimes in the grind game, like if you open up just your Odeon package, you kind of wish you ran like 1 more, but when you do, you just start opening too many trap cards that don't do anything going second. So like this ratio is, it feels okay. Like it feels fine. I wouldn't touch it. So, but that is the engine. I believe that is like 32 cards. If you have the extra judge, but that should be 31, which equates to about 11 bricks in the deck if you really think about it. So if I'm looking at cards I don't want to draw, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bricks in the deck. So if I'm playing a 40 card version of this deck, I believe it's like an 80% chance or like 80.9% chance of opening up one of these cards I don't want to see. In a 60 card version, it goes all the way down to 65, which is still not the lowest, but if I'm playing like 9 rounds of this deck, I'll take 15% chance more of not seeing these 100%, and I still have a 90% chance of opening up any of my starters, my 1 card starters. So playing the 60 card version, I don't notice at all like a lack of consistency. If anything, I still open up too much engine sometimes, but I don't know, man. Like the deck just feels like it. The deck does a lot of stuff. It feels really good. So I don't know. We'll see what people say, but it just feels correct. Like everything does what you need it to do. After you like combo with the blue eyes stuff, like you take so many cards out of the deck. So all of them are useful. So now for non-engine 1-ubs, I run Triple Tactics, Called By, and Crossout. Basically the Holy Trinity. So I've heard if you open up any of these going first, like you just want to beat Droll as much as you can. I hate them being at 1 because it just feels so cheesy to like, if you open up 2 of these especially, like your opponent just hates you or you hate your opponent. Like they should either just put it to 3 or get rid of them. But like if in a 60 card version, you might as well just run Crossout. Like there's so many cards you can just negate. There's so many interactions I just love with Crossout. Being able to like negate a triple tack, or in the mirror match you negate someone's True Light, or yeah, there's just a lot. And then I run the 1 pot of Prosperity. It's basically just free. Going second, I'm not usually OTKing people, so the half damage doesn't really matter too much. So yeah. So now for hand traps, continuing with more 1-ubs, I run 1 Nib, 1 Dominus Purge, and 1 Effect Veiler. I've been on 1 Effect Veiler for a while, so I'm glad to see other people are cutting it. It's really just not, it doesn't, like it does less than Imperm, and it plays into triple tack and like Called By. So I don't know, like it's really searchable, so it just feels right to keep it in the deck. It's a nice card to open up with the combo, just because it's a level 1 synchro or level 1 tuner that you can bring out with the Ancient Fairy. But yeah, Dominus Purge is honestly not worth the money. It does not, yeah, it doesn't feel that good. And Nibiru is like kind of hit or miss. Like against a good player, I find that Nib doesn't really do anything. So I just kind of keep it in there for a Crossout target at this point. For more hand traps, I run Triple Ash. This is basically just to stop other Molcharmies. Going second, I basically just side this out. Droll is like a must. And it's also like, it's technically engine, because if you top deck this, you could just make your Spirit Link 1 if you have Blue Eyes Engrave, and then combo from there. I run Triple Fuelos. If I had more Charmies, I'd run them. but I just currently just have these guys, so that's what I'm working with. Triple Imperm. It's nice because it's actually like traps that matter for the Anubis Judge, and it's something that you can set face down going first for your treasures. But that's it for the hand traps. I have what I call kind of like board breakers, but I've been experimenting with a lot of different going first, going second card combinations, trying to find what goes like what's good going first, but like also breaks boards. So I've kind of come up with a cool little package. So one of them I'll explain, but I just don't have it. I have them coming in the mail, but I'll talk about that in a second. So right now I'm running 3 Super Poly. This was Forbidden Droplet, which was Ultimate Slayer. Super Poly right now is just, it's just so good, honestly. Like Super Poly's cracked. Going first, you can set it for your treasures, and then going second, it's basically just a board breaker that they can't respond to, which is just broken. So the more cards you have going second that just help you break boards, the better for this deck, because it's so strong going first. By going second, you really have a hard time. And then I run triple Solemn Strike. More cards my opponents can't respond to. But this in conjunction with the next card, which it should be Torrential Tribute, but until they show up in the mail, it right now is Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. So if you open up these two together, going second, you can still basically break the board if it's not like insane. If it's insane, obviously just go to game 2 or game 3, whatever. But if you open up like these, you can just set them together, and when they try to do anything, you just negate it. Basically, it's essentially like a Nibiru with an Imperm for the board. But with your like Tyrant Dragon, and specifically talking about Torrential Tribute, with your Man with the Mark package, like all of that stuff is like indestructible. It's immune to your trap card. So with Torrential, there's been a couple games online where I just have Tyrant Dragon looping my Torrential Tribute, and my opponent just can't do anything against that. So these cards are also really good with your Temple of the King. So if you open them going second, you just go set a card, Temple of the King, and then activate it. Or like with your Solemn Strike, you just have like protection against your plays, almost like a side frame Gamma. Rip to that. But yeah, these cards together, like if you open up any of these, you should have a pretty good chance of the game if you open up a starter. So, but that is a main deck. That is quite a lot. It's 59 cards, should be 60. I'll move on to side deck next, actually. So I run Verdict of Anubis inside. This card's pretty good going second, because if you open this with Temple of the Kings or get it out and set it, hopefully if your opponent's like a quick play or something, you can just kind of bait it out and then wipe their field. Going first though, this card is like ridiculous. Being able to negate a spell, blow up the field. I find though, like I'm considering cutting it, because I find like good players will tend to start with their spell searchers first and save the monster effects. So like you kind of use this almost right away and never get to clear the field anyways. So I don't know about this. I'm kind of iffy. I run double thrust, triple tactic thrust. It's not as good as talents, but it might as well be. And then the searches off of that is Feather Duster and double Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm's nice. It does conflict with Nibiru. And I used to run Kashtira package, which also kind of conflicts with Lightning Storm, but your thrust can kind of just search either of these. So running 4 copies of Lightning Storm plus 3 copies of Feather Duster is pretty good going second. So, and then mandatory, I have triple Lancia. If I had Charmies, these would be Charmies, but these are kind of my budget, and that is Phantasme right now. A lot of players at my locals are playing Live Twins and Fiendsmith, so also against Malice, this is pretty good as well, just helping me draw on my pile of cards. And then going into time, This deck always goes to time, I swear. Like, you want to win game 1 as much as possible. Like, I played against a hero player last week, and his first turn took like 12 or 13 minutes, and in my mind, I'm just realizing like we're not going to a game 3. There's no way. So I got Spooky Dogwood coming in the mail, but right now I've just been running Ghost Mourner. It's just another way just to help me in time, just burn for damage. Like alongside our combo with the Ancient Fairy, we gain 1,000 life points, so hopefully that can help. I'm thinking of adding that Jirshin guy, the Synchro 11, that every time your opponent activates an effect, you gain 300 life. But right now, yeah, like Spooky Dogwood, though, I will say is actually really good, because if your opponent just sets up a huge board and they give you like 6,000 life points, sometimes you just need an extra turn to win, and it gives you enough to do that into time. So I really value that. All right, finally the extra deck. This has been pretty fluid. There's about 3 or 4 cards that are kind of just sitting outside of this that tend to rotate in. So if there's any suggestions for the extra deck, I would love any opinions. But this has kind of felt like the best extra deck I've come up with. Like in the grind game, I haven't felt like I've missed anything except for like 2 or 3 cards sometimes. But even then, when I cut anything out of here, I use like everything in here. So starting with our Link monsters, double Spirit with Eyes of Blue. You really can't go down to 1. Usually with the combo, I just run 1. I don't ever usually do 2 unless I open up Roar and I get hard stopped on one of the Synchro Dragons. Sometimes you can go into Spheres, which is the next card on the list. Yeah, these I've had a hard time cutting. Like I can't cut these at all. Being able to top deck the second one within the second card, it's just so nice, really. It just gives you so much power in the grind game. And then this one could be the Silhouette Rabbit, but I've actually been liking the Link 3 BLS because I find with the first turn combo, I go with the Divine Serpent Apophis, and late game, I'm stuck with just normal monsters on the field. So if you can get Blue Eyes out or like a Nibiru token, you make your BLS with your 3 monsters, and in the grind game, this thing is actually just insane. Untargetable, it can't be destroyed, and then you just start banishing stuff on targeting. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. But this could be really anything else. This is like the flex spot. Another flex spot, I guess, could be is Volzar Lars. This guy I actually make quite a lot with the fusion monster, which I'll talk about in a minute. Actually, there's a couple of them that are 6s, but the serpent, the scorpion guy, he's level 6. So I usually end on this as part of my combo. Sometimes I wish there was a better 6 that Omni negates, but this is really the only one. But he stops like Feather Duster and stuff, so yeah. So for fusions, I've got the Divine Serpent Apophis. This guy is really insane if you leave him out, like just every turn resetting your traps and getting the destroy. But a lot of times if you have your Blue Eyes engine going, I'd rather just use him for half of Lars and then leave the destruction to my Majesty trap. So for my other fusions, for my super poly targets, I run Garura, which also happens to be level 6 for Lars. Helps just draw a card. And then I also have Starving Venom. So I've been actually liking this guy more than the Cyberse Golem, like the Adignister guy that requires a Link monster and a Cyberse, because all of the Malice Links are all dark monsters. This guy also hits Mitsurugi because their rituals are darks, I believe. And this also just hits just some random decks, like it hits Bystials. White Forest, not too much, but he comes up. I find everything he doesn't hit, Garura hits. So these two actually felt pretty nice. Starving Venom's also an 8, so him with any of your level 1 synchros can just immediately go into your spirit and combo from there, which is kind of nice. So, and then pretty standard as well is the 1 Tyrant Dragon with the Neo Blue Eyes. This guy is just a total tank. Yeah, I don't need to say anything about him because everything that's been said about him is in every other deck profile. So for my synchro package now, I run double Spirit with Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, sorry. And then my 2 targets are the Ultimate and Ancient Fairy Dragon. And then from Ancient Fairy Dragon, I can make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon part of the combo. So usually I'm using 1, and then later on I can make the second one with the Ultimate. Yeah, this package is just the bare minimum. Lightstorm Dragon you could run, but I find with the combo, there's just so much destruction between the Serpent, BLS, and like the Majesty. It's just not needed. And a lot of times your True Light's gonna get banished. So like Desiree, yeah, so this package has been working out. Everything's been great so far, so I'm just missing some mulch armies really. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later. All right, so here I'll showcase the Blue Eyes combo aspect of the deck. If your opponent is unfortunate enough to open no hand traps, unless they're opening 5 or 6 unique cards that are starters, they're not about to beat the end board we're about to make here. This all changes obviously depending on what hand you open versus your situation. But for right now, I'm opening double Blue Eyes, an Ash, a Droll, with just a Sage. So we'll start with normal summoning the Sage, grabbing our Maiden. And then we are going to link 1 into the Spirit. Activate the effect to grab the field spell. Opening the field spell sometimes is nice around Droll, so it's not always a brick. We're going to activate it, and what we're going to do is send a Blue Eyes from hand instead of deck if we're unlucky, just like in this situation, but it still works. And then we are going to activate our Maiden and go get our True Light. So this is all pretty standard so far. Now what we are going to do is activate Spirit, tribute itself to revive the Blue Eyes, and then activate the Maiden Engrave to revive itself. I've been seeing a lot of DD Crow lately, so this part of the combo is usually where I've been stopped. But I try not to use True Light until I have the Synchro 9 Spirit out, just to play around Ghost Ogre. So we will Synchro 9 now into our Spirit. And then now I'm going to activate the True Light to set a spell trap, which is going to be our Witches. Cool. All right, so right here, I like to just kind of hold the Spirit, because as soon as we swap out to our Ancient Fairy Dragon and blow up the Mausoleum, we lose our extra normal summons, so just to grab an extra body. I'm going to activate the Wishes now. I'm going to pitch the other Blue Eyes we drew. And we're going to grab our second Sage, as well as a Roar. Droll eats this combo alive, so if you do get drolled, you would not be doing any of this. So from here, what I'm going to do is extra normal summon the Sage and grab Effect Failure. Right here is where, if you get Nibiru'd, is probably the worst part, honestly, but even still, you can still end on an interruption through it. So now what we're going to do is tag out our Spirit Dragon into Ancient Fairy Dragon, and then activate the effect to blow the field spell and grab a different one, which will be Treasure of the Kings. So now before I do anything else, you could special summon with it from hand, but right here I just synchro into our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and try and shut off Nibiru here. If your opponent does know the combo, which not many people do, but they will after they see this video, they might be holding Nibiru and then it'll be too late at this point, but if they open Nibiru and Imperm, just like with the Beansmith with Caesar, they can still beat this board, but kind of forces them to open with it. So continuing on here, what we're going to do is activate our Treasure of the Kings, which is going to let us set a Apophis trap, which will be the Serpent. All right, now what we can do is set the Roar that we added, which gives us 2 set cards, allowing us to activate treasures, grabbing our Merciless Scorpion, which now we can special summon from hand by banishing our Anubis from deck, or Nibiru. Bring that out, and now activate the effect to grab our Temple of the Kings. All right, now we're going to activate Temple of the Kings, which is now going to turn our Apophis the Serpent live, which we will now activate, allowing us to set Apophis the Swamp Deity from the deck and allow us to activate it this turn. So we're going to immediately activate it, summoning itself. And then after that resolves, we're going to contact Fuse into the Divine Serpent Apophis. We are now going to activate the effect, allowing us to reset up to 3 different Apophis spells, but we only have 2, but that's more than enough. So now, once all that is done, we are going to overlay Bull 6s into Evolzar Lars. Normally this is considered win more, but you actually need to have 3 monster zones to get all 3 of your Apophis spells and traps lives, so it is kind of important to clear your own zones here. You kind of do generate too much value and you kind of clog yourself. And from at this point, you're pretty much finished. So what we've got here is our Swamp Deity, which is currently already live because we have True Light, so we already can negate up to 1 card, but if we do activate our Serpent, we can set the other Swamp Deity from the deck, which I will find here. And this one is live, so we can currently negate up to 2 cards on the field, and then this one can negate up to 3 cards on the field. Omni negates, by the way, so basically Solemn Judgments. And then we have Lars, and which is another Omni negate, and Crystal Wing. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 Omni negates, and on their turn we can also use True Light to set our Majesty, which can actually be activated the same turn because of Temple of the Kings. So we have 4 negates with up to a pop 2. So yeah, literally they're gonna need 6 individual pushes to really even break the board. That's also considering you still have 3 cards in hand and another set card, which could have been like something else. So yeah, a lot of decks just can't really break this board. So GG. All right, so now I'm gonna show off the Odeon part of the deck. Basically, adding the engine into the deck, you're admitting that you lose to Droll, essentially. But if they don't have Droll, you basically don't get to go into the Blue Eyes combo, but you still get to end on a couple negates, which has at least won a few times in the grind game against some like pretty good decks that I've played against. So it's not the worst, but it's not the best. So you do have to open up a card that you can set. If not, yeah, you're not really doing too much. So that's kind of why the deck is built in a certain way. So we'll start with Anubis. Opening Man at the Mark would be better, but Droll does still kill the combo either way. So we grab our Man at the Mark, normal summon, which will allow us to grab our Treasures of the Kings. All right, which we will then activate, which allows us to set our Apophis the Serpent. All right, we will now set another card, which will allow us to activate our treasures, which is going to add our Merciless Scorpion. Cool. When that resolves, we'll now special summon it by banishing a 10 or higher from the deck. So we'll do Nibiru here, bring that out. And if that's good, we can now activate to add our Temple of the Kings. If you do have Blue Eyes Engine, this is where you can now just activate your Temple of the Kings, and you can just wait on your trap. And if they do have Nibiru, you can just use, in this example, a Solemn Strike, because Temple will let you use a trap card the turn it was set. So opening these two together is pretty sweet going first. So anyways, not doing that, we are now going to activate our Apophis the Serpent, which is going to let us set our Swamp Deity and use it. So when that resolves, we now activate it, summoning it itself again. And from here, we're going to go Contact Fuse into the Divine Serpent, and then use its effect to reset our double traps that we just used. So from here, now we can overlay into Ebolzar Lars. The reason why I like going the step further into the Xyz is because, again, with the Blue Eyes combo, you need to have 3 monster zones to use all 3 of your Apophis traps to get your negates. So, because this Apophis is going to summon itself and then reset the other one from the deck, and then you're going to have the one you already have set and the new one. So you're going to need 3 zones to effectively clear them. You could do the Silhouette Rabbit, or Silhouette Rabbit, however you say it. But I just like the Man with the Mark just for the protection on like your back row and your monsters. Because if you do open like Torrential Tribute or something, Torrential with Man with the Mark is just a one-sided board wipe, and yeah, that's pretty good. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to make the combo better, I've seen lots of combos specifically with this where you go into like Gallant Granite, grab like the Heavenly Prison Lord, but I didn't want to like go too focused onto the Odeon engine. If I could cut some of the starters, I would, but I just have to run the certain amount I do to keep the percentage at opening them with 60 cards. So, but yeah, thanks for watching.